Welcome to our next food video. We are going to be preparing for you tonight a delicious skillet meal using rice-a-roni. It is a very tasty meal that we have made before. It's just some random ingredients all thrown together. I do have 3 different pans here on the stove that I will be using as I cook different ingredients in different stages here before we mix them all together in our skillet. For this particular meal, we'll be using 2 boxes of creamy 4-cheese rice-a-roni. I have 2 small bags of John Soules beef fajita steak here. We usually use the family size bag, but we were unable to find that in the store today, so I picked up 2 small bags instead, and that will work. Other ingredients I will be putting into our dish, I have 3/4 of a red onion finely chopped up here. I have a package, it's a 8-ounce package of mushrooms. There's probably about 7 ounces left in here. We did use some in our breakfast this morning, so we'll be using that as well. I also have some minced garlic, which we will be using in our dish. And at the very end, I'll be adding some more cheese. Now with this skillet meal, it can easily feed a family of 4 or 5. For Tom and I, we can get 2 meals out of it, and we're just 2 people. So depending on how big your family is, it could probably easily feed a family of 4 and 5. The first thing we're going to go ahead and do, because it takes the longest, is we're going to go ahead and get our rice-a-roni going. Now basically, for the rice-a-roni, you want to generally just cook it according to the directions on the package. For the butter, I don't tend to measure it. It just is used to brown the rice. So I have my country crock here. I'm going to go ahead and flick a couple spoons of it into my pan. I have a very nice deep dish skillet here. I'm going to go ahead, that's where the meal is going to end up at the very end, all mixed in together. We're going to go ahead and turn the heat on that and pour our rice-a-roni mix into it so the rice can start to get a little brown.
Two boxes rice-a-roni. How much butter roughly?
I think it's like 2 tablespoons that each one calls for. I probably use a little bit more than that, maybe not 4, but as you saw, I used 2 nice sized spoons in the pan there to cook the rice. Now as the rice is going to start to get brown, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my country crock again and get another little scoop of butter, put it in another pan here. This pan is going to be used for my onions and mushrooms, so I'm going to go ahead and put my onion in that pan. And then we're going to go ahead and add our thing of mushrooms. Now, I did not cut up the mushrooms. I find with the wooden spoon that I use, the mushrooms, as they cook and get a little soft, they're very easy to break up with the spoon. So I just pour the whole thing in there. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is let our rice get a little brown. I use the same wooden spoon, cuts down on the dishes, and again, everything's going to get mixed in together eventually anyway, so having everything mixed together a little bit is not going to hurt it. We're going to go ahead and let our onions and mushrooms start to caramelize a little bit and start to sweat. And once that does happen, then we'll add a little bit of garlic in. And whoa, that one was a little bit harder than sometimes it is. They're maybe not soft enough yet, but as you see in time, they're going to be a little bit easy to break up with the spoon. We're going to go ahead and let those cook down a little bit, and we'll come back. My rice has been cooking for a little while now, and it's starting to get good and brown. So we're going to go ahead and add the next ingredients into the rice. Now I do have a bowl here with some warm water in here. There is 4.5 cups of warm water. Since I'm making a double batch of rice, I did double the water. I'm going to go ahead and pour that on in my pan. I have the 4 cheese seasoning mix here that I have opened. Whoa, that came with the rice-a-roni. You're not supposed to drop it into the pan. Go ahead and mix that on in there as well.
Miracle save.
Give it a little stir, mix all the powder into the water and the rice. And then we're going to let that come to a boil so we can put the lid on it. While that is occurring, I'm going to go ahead and turn our attention back to our onions and mushrooms here. I have actually turned the burner on now. I had forgotten to do that earlier. That could be part of the problem of why nothing seemed to be softening. You can see that they are starting to sweat. The mushrooms have gotten softer, and it's a lot easier for me to just kind of chop them a little bit with my spoon so you don't have such big mushrooms in your skillet dish once we mix everything all together.
And it smells amazing, I might add.
Now we're going to go ahead and let it sweat a little bit more. It's not quite there yet. Once that does happen, we will come back and I'll add some garlic. All right, my rice has come to a nice boil. I'm going to go ahead and give it a final stir here, try and mix everything in a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and cover the rice pan with the lid, turn it down to more like of a medium heat, and set the timer for about 18 minutes so that the water cooks in and the rice gets nice and soft. So we got the timer going. I do also have more of my mushrooms chopped up here. Most of them are now chopped up and they're getting nice and soft and sweaty. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my minced garlic. Take a nice heaping spoon of garlic there and put it on in there with the onions and mushrooms. And we're going to give that a stir as well. Get those mushrooms and onions all covered with the garlic so that the garlic flavor can permeate and get cooked into the mushrooms and onions. We're going to go ahead and turn that down a little bit as well. As a final step right now, I'm going to go ahead and get our meat started with John Scholl's meat. It is already cooked, so basically you just want to warm it up. I do tend to try to get it a little bit brown on the bottoms, but mainly you just want to warm up the meat. So we're going to go ahead and put that in our pan.
Walmart tends to carry the John Scholl's brand. They're actually really, really good. We like them. And like I said, it's fully cooked. You're just basically heating it up. It does come out juicy. It's fajita flavored. I mean, they're just awesome. And
they're handy to have for all kinds of meals.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to take the time and make fresh, it's I suppose better, but this brand in particular is really good. So there's a free plug for John Scholl's. And like I said, the mushrooms, onions, and stuff smell incredible.
They're almost ready to be turned off here. They have become a nice golden brown. We're not wanting to burn them. The garlic has been cooking into them here now for a couple of minutes. So we're going to go ahead and turn the heat off on those, but we'll let it go ahead and sit there on the heat still and stay warm. Our rice has been cooking for about 10 minutes now. I'm going to go ahead and open up the lid, give it another good stir here. Cover it back up with the lid. You can hear our meat is sizzling. You can see where it's starting to get a little bit a crust on it there, kind of like I was saying. I like a little bit. It's getting nice and warm. We're probably going to try to get off the heat here in just a couple of minutes. So really the last thing that we're waiting for at this time is the rice. All right, I have finished washing my hands. So we're going to go ahead and turn off the timer and take the lid off of our rice. I'm going to go ahead and set that just for a second over here on the counter. We'll be using that again here in just a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and give my rice one final stir. Turn the heat off of it. And then I'm gonna move it over here so I can add the other ingredients. And you can see as I do this. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my pan of mushrooms, garlic, and onions. Get all of that good stuff scraped out of there. Now with this particular skillet meal, there might be something in it that you don't like. Maybe you don't like mushrooms. Maybe you want to try a different vegetable. Fresh spinach or something might be good in it as well. If you want to try something different. Maybe your kids don't like mushrooms. Our daughter nowadays won't eat mushrooms. As a kid, she loved them, loved mushrooms, now loved onions. Now she can pretty much take them or leave them. As far as onions go, mushrooms she won't touch them. But we're gonna go ahead and take our pan of meat now as well and add that to our rice. Mix that all in as well. Get the meat nice and coated. Once we've given all of that a good mix, we're gonna go ahead and spread it back out on the pan as much as we can. Then we have our last final ingredient, which I have here a large bag of Colby Monterey Jack cheese. We have used this in several meals. You can see it's almost gone. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a generous handful and sprinkle it liberally across the top. And one more. You can put as much cheese or as little cheese as you like. That's probably just about perfect. Maybe just a little bit more right there. I'm going to put the lid back on my pan. There is still heat in the pan from the rice and from the other food. And we're just going to turn the heat back on very, very low. We're going to let that sit for 2 to 5 minutes just for the cheese to melt. Once that does happen, we'll get it all plated up. All right, it has been a couple of minutes now. The cheese has melted perfectly. Now I said to give it, an average 2 to 5 minutes probably. While you are doing that, I would watch your pan for the meltation of the cheese. When it reaches that perfect meltification for you, then you can say it's done. Some people might like it a little bit more melted than others.
New word for the day, meltification. So
that is what our meal does look like. I'm going to go ahead and put it over here on a hot pad. I'm going to get some of it dished up. And you can see it is still very hot. The cheese is nice and stringy. We'll go ahead and put some of that on our plate. Now once we do get it plated up, if you have something that you think will top it well or a different flavor you are wanting to try, you can certainly do that. Tom likes to use a little bit of the green tobacco sauce on his. So we have this and we're going to go ahead and just sprinkle a couple drops of it on there for him. And we'll top it off with a little dollop of sour cream. We like these little squeezable sour creams. It's easy to just grab them, squeeze, and put a little bit of it on there. To finish off our dinner, we do have some canned asparagus. We probably do have canned asparagus a lot. We enjoy it. It's one of our favorite vegetables, I think. And so that is our dinner for tonight. Hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.
And the real star of the show is Anastasia. Yes, girl. Come here. Yes.
Oh,
Daddy's girl, huh?
Princess wants to be
Daddy's
the star
girl,
too.
huh? Oh, Princess want to be involved? Hello, girl. You're Daddy's girl, too. Yes, you are.
Mom's going to wash her hands quick.
Good girls.